Hello, it's good to see you. Welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, this is Everyday Mary. This is my very informal vlog channel. Normally I don't make videos like this. Normally it's just me talking about my day and whatever happened. This video is going to be a little different, and I say that up front because there's always at least one person who gets upset if I talk about things that aren't positive. They always kind of complain and make it sound like all I do is talk about doom and gloom. Why can't you talk about happy things? Why can't you talk about funny things? You don't need to dwell on negativity all the time. I don't know if that's toxic positivity, but it kind of feels like it is. You know, if you try to talk about anything a little heavy, they get very upset and uncomfortable. Like, you just talk about happy things. Don't focus. You focus too much on the negative. I don't feel like I focus on the negative. I think sometimes, though, we live in a world where we try to ignore the negative a little bit too much. We try to ignore dysfunction or shove it under the rug. I know a lot of families do that. My own family does that. We don't talk about negative feelings. We don't talk about feelings at all. And maybe these are people who grew up in a family like that. Maybe you just have never felt comfortable expressing your feelings about things. I mean, if so, you know, I get it because I grew up around people like that. And if I ever tried to express anything, or God forbid, I had an emotion for a minute, they really didn't like it, and they would try to change the subject, or, tell me to stop being such a Debbie Downer all the time. Or just, they would just flat out ignore me. Sometimes in life, we do have to talk about things that aren't fun. Sometimes in life, we have to go through things that aren't fun. And sometimes it helps to talk about those things so other people who may be dealing with that not fun thing, maybe it can help them deal with it a little better. Maybe. So that's why I'm talking about that. But if you're someone who needs constant positivity or funny anecdotes, this is not the video for you. I'm just saying that now to save you the trouble of typing out how much you don't like this kind of video. You don't have to tell me. It's okay. I know you don't like them. I know. But sometimes in life, kind of like colonoscopies, sometimes you just have to go through stuff that's just not fun because it's part of life. Not that you have to go through this video. You can just click away. It's okay. It's fine. I am here to talk about smear campaigns, and they are not fun. They are not entertaining. It's not flattering. It's awful, is what it is. If you've ever been through one, you know what I mean. It can be, you experience all kinds of feelings about it. You are going to have a multi-layer approach, like your feelings. You're going to feel so many different things when it comes to that. Do you see this? I went to a punk flea market today. This has nothing to do with smear campaigns, but if you see marks, I didn't like join a group, like where they were. I'm not blood brothers with anybody. I went to a punk flea market. I made a video there that I'm going to put on my other channel. And you had to pay to get in, and they give you this little mark. So if you want to go in and out, you just show them this. Anyway, I haven't washed it off yet because I was just there not too long ago. Great experience. I had a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a blast at the punk flea market. It was awesome. You'll get to see it later on the other channel. I'll probably upload that Sunday night. Anyway, smear campaigns. First of all, what is a smear campaign? It's probably a term you've heard. You might not really know what it is. Basically, it is just where a person or multiple people, it could be one person, it could be a whole group, will smear another person or group. You're just talking shit, basically, and you're presenting it as the truth. It's slander is what it is, or it could be libel if it's in print. They're trying to make you look bad. They're trying to affect the way other people see you, and it could be completely made up. The stuff they're saying could be absolutely comical. It's so fictitious. It's funny. I mean, it really is funny. Like, what? So you start to hear what's being said, and this is one of the layers of emotion. And this is not considered medical advice or to replace any kind of counseling or anything. I'm a goober on the internet. I'm not an expert in anything, but I have been through a few smear campaigns, and I'll tell you about them. One of the layers of emotions that I personally have experienced in the initial stages of learning about the smear campaign, my first reaction was just disbelief. You just can't believe what you're hearing. There's no way they're saying that. They're not saying that. Why would they say that? They're not saying that, and then you automatically, why would they say that? They know that's not true. I know they know it's not true. They know that I know that they know it's not true, but they're saying it to other people. Huh. So I think for me, disbelief was the first, there's what? It made no sense. Why would you say that? So anyway, it's basically one person or group kind of going after another person or group. And they can have any number of reasons for doing this. Maybe you're their competition in some way, and they need to try to, hamstring you a little bit. They need to trip you up. So in their mind, it's making them look better. Or they think that you have done them wrong in some way, so they need to have a way to lash out and hurt you. It really comes back to however this person's mind works. The first thing I would say to anyone going through a smear campaign is, it's not you. It's really not something about you. It's not something you can fix. I don't really know that you could have done anything to avoid it. So don't feel like, oh, what if I had just been nicer to them, if I had only done this, or you probably couldn't have avoided it. Because I think at the heart of pretty much every smear campaign, there is a narcissist. I think there is at least one. Could be a whole group of them. I dealt with a group of them. So I think it comes back to the person who initiates the smear campaign. It's really about them. It says a lot more about them than it does you. And when you're dealing with a narcissist, and it would be a good thing to learn more about narcissism. And it's not just people who love to look in the mirror all day. And I think that's what a lot of people imagine when they think of a narcissist, or the grandiose narcissist, the big flashy. Most narcissists, I don't think, are like that. They're really not like that. They're very different. They do not interact with the world or perceive the world like a normal person. So anything that you do is going to be filtered through that narcissistic filter before it gets to their little brain, and they will then process it and react based on what that narcissistic filter is telling them. They will not deal with you the way a normal person would deal with you. They won't treat you the way a normal person treats you. And I think that's when most of us started to learn about narcissism, when we found ourselves dealing with someone that just makes no sense. Like their behaviors and the way they react and respond to things just makes no sense. So we get online and we start trying to figure out, what am I dealing with this person? I don't understand. And that's how I started to learn about it. Because I dealt with what I would consider to be a malignant narcissist. I do think this person was malignant. This was someone who absolutely took great pleasure in hurting other people. I mean, you could see it in the face, in the eyes, lit up like Christmas morning when this person knew that they had hurt you. It really made them happy. Like it would make their day to hurt someone who either could not or would not fight back. And I spent a number of years around this person. And they did a number on me and my self-esteem. And it was trying to learn how to relate to this person and interact with this person that I started to learn about narcissistic personality disorder. And as I've said before, I have a bachelor's in psychology, and never once in all of the time I spent in school, never once did I learn about narcissistic personality disorder. Not in a single class was it ever even discussed. I didn't know anything about it. I started to learn about it after the fact, when I had to deal with what I consider to be narcissists. So sometimes, you get away from a narcissist, and I know that's hard. Or even they might even discard you. The smear campaign can take place whether you leave them or they discard you. There's a cycle. to a narcissistic relationship or a relationship with a narcissist. You have the love bombing stage, where they shower you with attention and affection and gifts and flattery. Oh, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're my soulmate. I wish we had met sooner. Oh, we were meant to be together. And you feel like it's just the best thing ever. But then over time, the devaluation starts to kick in. They start to see you as a real person, and you're not perfect, and they really don't like that because they kind of saw you as like their savior. They have this core wound in them, and they were really thinking you could fix it. They really thought you were going to save them. But then over time, they start to realize you can't do that because nobody can. So they start to devalue you, and then the discard comes, and either you get away from them or they discard you. Then there could be the hoover stage, like a vacuum. They try to suck you back in, and the cycle starts over again if you fall for the hoover. The love bombing, the devaluation, the discard, the hoover, the love bombing. You're just on a roller coaster with these people. And it can go on for years. It can go on for decades. It could be a significant other. It could be a family member. It could be a boss, a friend, a coworker. I mean, you could have any different number of relationships with this person. It's not always romantic. It could be a parent. It could be one of your kids. It could be a sibling, a close friend, coworker. Like I say, it could be, you could have any kind of relationship with this person. But say you do get away from them for a period of time. That, especially if you left them, that's going to cause a narcissistic injury. And if you know these people, you know how they are. They have very fragile egos, very fragile. Now they can run you down all day long, and you better not have a problem with it, because I was very familiar with that. I remember. I was subjected to an onslaught of insults and criticisms daily. I was called every name in the book, every insult you could imagine. Everything about me was insulted. And I just silently took it, and I didn't try to fight back. I grew up watching a married couple kind of like that, like the mom is the doormat, the dad is kind of domineering, and that's just the only thing I knew, and I just went on to mimic that as an adult. But I remember this one time, I don't know, I think that day I had just kind of had it. And all I said to this person who had spent the better part of an afternoon, again, calling me everything you can imagine, screaming in my face, getting spittle on my face. He was so close to me, screaming at me about how I had ruined his life and I was the most disgusting human being he had ever seen. Everything about me was disgusting. And I think I had just had all I could take. And all I said was, well, you're not much to look at either. That's all I said. I'd never said anything like that before. Instant change in this person's demeanor. I mean, it's like the eyes just went black. It was scary. This was one of 2 times that I thought I was going to get like physically hit. And he was trembling. Like, I think he wanted to hit me. And I had no idea it was going to have that kind of effect. I had no idea that was going to happen. But I had just had all I could take, and it just came out. And he just raged. He just absolutely raged at me for saying that. Compared to what I had been listening to, it was nothing, but they have fragile egos. They can't take it. Now, they can dish it out all day long. They cannot take it. And that the fact that I said that continued to come up in arguments for well over a year as proof that I was a horrible person for saying that. They can say whatever they want to you. You are not allowed to say anything to them. It's very one-sided. Rules for thee, but not for me. They can say whatever they want. You cannot. Now remember that. Now I'm just saying that's how they look at it. I'm not saying that's true. I'm not saying that's the way it should be. I'm saying you have to kind of learn to think like a narcissist. to really understand how to deal with a narcissist. You cannot deal with them like normal people. You will get nowhere. You know how you've been beating your head against a wall trying to deal with this person? It's because you're trying to deal with them like a normal person, and you can't because they're not normal. It would be like trying to speak to someone. Say you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they only speak Italian, and you keep trying to speak English to them. They don't know any English. And you don't understand why are they not? I'm telling them to do something. Why are they not doing it? Why? And you feel like you're beating that's because they don't speak your language. You are not speaking their language. If you really want to understand them, they're not, okay, I'm just using this as an example. This is a narcissist, right? This narcissist is not going to learn English to talk to you. You're going to have to learn to speak Italian. You're going to have to learn to speak narcissist is what you're going to have to do in order to communicate with them effectively. So, okay. So they look at the world this way. I, the narcissist, can treat people any way I like. And if I treat you poorly, it's your own fault. It's not me. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. If you leave a narcissist, if you walk out and get away, if you escape from a narcissist, which it really is an escape. Nobody leaves a narcissist. You escape from a narcissist. You really, and sometimes literally you do. You have to escape from their clutches. You don't just leave. You don't just break up with a narcissist. You can't. It doesn't work that way. Again, they're speaking another language. It's not like dealing with a normal person. And I will say this till I'm blue in the face, but you need to understand, it's not like dealing with a normal person. It never will be. You will never do enough or be enough to make them normal, to where you can actually communicate with them like a normal person. Which is why a lot of times therapy doesn't help, in my opinion, because too many therapists do not understand that. They do not understand narcissism. So their answer to everything is, well, you just need to learn to communicate better. Well, they're still speaking Italian and you're speaking English. There is no communication here. There's no communication at all. So I'm not saying don't go to therapy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that a lot of therapists don't really seem to understand this particular relationship dynamic. And their answer to everything is, well, you just need to learn to communicate better. And that's all. That's like their answer to everything. It's like their easy button and they're done with you. No. If you leave a narcissist, if you escape and get away, you will cause an astounding narcissistic injury to this person. Now, they're not going to show you, or they probably won't. You will really hurt them. I mean, it will be a major blow to them for you to leave, because nobody leaves me. I mean, that's how they're looking at it, like, you don't leave me. And that's why it can be a very dangerous time for someone who leaves a narcissist, because that's when a lot of bad shit happens. A lot, you can be in danger because they can't handle that. They can't handle it. Absolutely cannot handle the thought of someone leaving them. No, because they have this false self and they believe that they are perfect. And if you challenge that by leaving them, like, well, you wouldn't leave me if I were perfect. And they do have abandonment issues too, I think, and that makes it worse. They have to get you back somehow. And I think a lot of them decide that their revenge, the way they get you back, is a smear campaign. I have a cat in my lap. She's purring. I don't know if you can hear her. Sorry. So one way they can get you back is a smear campaign. Oh yeah? You're going to leave me? Oh, well, I'll just let everybody know what a scumbag you are then. You're not actually a scumbag, but they're going to make you out to be one. So, I'll tell you one experience I had. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to explain this one. This was my first experience with it. I was 17 years old. I'll just put it out there. I've talked about it before. I'll just put this out there. My dad was not fond of me. We'll just stop right there. He wasn't fond of me, and he wasn't fond of me going to college. he was of the opinion that college was bad, and the only thing that ever came out of college was a snob, and certainly girls had no business going to college. Well, I wanted to go anyway, and I did. And I found out, after I had been away at college for a couple months, that he was telling people that I was a stripper, I was homeless, I was a prostitute, and I was on drugs. He was telling people who had known me my whole life these things. And the way I found out was that these people, now this was right after my mom and dad split up. The way I found out about it was because these people called my mom to say, "Oh my God, what is going on with Mary? Can we do anything to help? We just heard." And my mom's like, you heard what? What did you hear? Well, we heard about, her state right now. Just what do you mean? What did we hear? What can we do to help her? I can't believe this. And my mom said, "What did you hear? Who have you been talking to?" Well, we heard in the four things, stripper, drugs, prostitute, homeless. Like, Mom's going, "What? Who have you been talking to?" No, she's a freshman in college. Oh my God. So that's how I found out. And so she called me because she had 2 or 3 people call her just really upset. Just, what has happened to Mary? Oh my God. We heard. Yeah, I know what you heard. I know what you heard. So my mom called. She told me, she said, "You're not going to believe this. I have received some calls from some people, and here's what is being said about you. Because I do believe me going to college was a narcissistic injury to this mirror." So she told me what was being said, and my first reaction was just absolute disbelief. Like, wait a minute, what? Because it didn't sound real. Like, you're joking. Wait, run that by me again. What am I doing right now? Stripper? I'm a stripper. I'm homeless. I'm a prostitute, and I'm a drug addict. How did I accomplish all that? I'm 17 years old. What? Why would he say that? I mean, I was just so confused. Why would he say that? He knows that's not true. And it hurt. I mean, it hurt. Like, why would you say that? So, I had a few days to process it. And it was funny at first, and then it wasn't funny anymore. And then I was just angry. Because I started thinking, these are people who have known me all my life. They've known me all my life. And they were thinking that this is what had become of me. Because to him, again, narcissistic brain, that was less embarrassing than have them find out that I had gone to college, plus it was an opportunity to smear me. Because he saw it as a great disrespect to him for me to go to college. Because he believed that children should not endeavor to do more than their parents, because that's disrespectful. You're getting above your raisings if you do that, and you are forgetting yourself, and you should not do that. Don't get above your raisins is a very common saying in some circles. Don't get above your raisins. And I don't mean dried grapes, raisins. Basically, you're trying to do better than your parents. And if you try to do better than your parents, you're being disrespectful to your parents. And the way the narcissist sees it, they assume everyone sees it that way. So if the narcissist considers that to be disrespectful and shameful, they believe everyone sees it that way. So they don't want other people to know that their child has disrespected them. So they go and just talk shit about you, apparently. So what I did over the Christmas break, winter break, whatever, I went back. I was in Wilmington. I went back to my hometown, and I went to see a couple of these people in person. One of them was in Kernersville. I went up to Kernersville to see them. It was a husband and wife that had known me since I was a little kid. And I went to see them. And I said, I just want you to see for yourself. I want to talk to you face to face and let you know that what you heard was not true. And they were very relieved. They said, just when we heard these things, we were just in shock. We were just in complete disbelief. I felt the need to clear the air and to show them in person, look, I'm none of those things that he said. I'm just a freshman in college, just, trying to settle in and, get acclimated. And I don't have time to do anything else really, But I just wanted them to know just straight from me that wasn't true. And I think when we find out there's a smear campaign going on, we do feel a need to clear the air. I think that's perfectly normal. One thing you have to consider, though, anything you say can and will be used against you by the narcissist. They are planning on you trying to clear the air, and they're waiting for you to try to clear the air, because then they will take whatever you say, and they're really good at this for some reason. They will take anything you say and twist it around and use it against you, even if it makes no sense. They will take whatever you say and turn it into some kind of word salad BS, and they will have you saying the opposite of what you actually did say. It's crazy making it. It'll just make you crazy. But they will do that. Just so you know, if you are smeared and you feel the need to address it, anything you say is going to be used against you. Now, you have to decide for yourself. I mean, it's up to you in the situation you're in and your own good judgment. You have to decide the best way to deal with a smear campaign. Another smear campaign I went through was when I was in the cult, which, if you didn't know, my brother and his wife and my first husband were all involved in what I consider to be a religious cult. Now, I didn't see it that way at the time, and obviously they didn't either. And they had been involved in this church for a number of years. My first husband was involved for 13 years, and my brother and his wife were involved each for about 10 years, I think. I think they've both been in the church about the same amount of time. Something like 8 to 10 years, I believe. And so I met my first husband at my brother's wedding, and we sort of kicked off a relationship. And so long story short, I ended up moving to Illinois to be with him, and I lived up there for about a year, and we got married at the tail end of that. And it was right before the wedding. Was it right? It was right before the wedding that I found out everything. I'm talking like days before the wedding. I found out everything that just kind of blew the lid off what this place really was, and the things that had gone on there, and all these things that I'd been told were not true. I was told they were true, and it was a really bizarre time in my life. Really bizarre. Went through with the wedding, but I told him that I was getting out of there. I said, I'm getting out. You can come with me. I am not staying here. I cannot stay here anymore and be a part of this. Anyway, my brother and his wife left around the same time my first husband and I left. Like, completely left the church. The church conducted, I believe, in my opinion, a smear campaign, especially against my brother and his wife, because they started a website, kind of putting some information out there about this group, and some of the pages, the court transcripts, because the bishop and founding pastor was sent to prison for, I think, like 32 years for some inappropriate stuff with minors. Not going to go into detail about that, but they got a hold of the court transcripts, which none of the church members had been allowed to see. It was over 1,600 pages, I remember, because my sister-in-law, God bless her, she had, at that time, this was back in 2000, I think it was the year 2000, she just had this scanner where you scan like one page at a time. You remember, you open it, put the page down, scans, you pull it out, put another, She scanned, it was this huge stack. It was like 100 pages of court transcripts. She scanned every single page and put it out there for the whole world to see. You want to read the transcripts of this trial? Because there's a lot of stuff in there that y'all were told wasn't true, and it's right there in black and white. Your own church people, your own leaders are admitting to it and talking about it in here. It is true, and they're lying to you. So when the church found this out, they were pissed that this was being put out there. And my brother and his wife set up a message forum where former members could talk to one another. They really didn't like that. They didn't want anybody talking to each other. So whenever you were excommunicated from the church, current members were prohibited. You were not allowed to speak to excommunicated members. There's a good reason for that, because the excommunicated members they knew what was going on, and they didn't want the current members to know. They wanted to keep them ignorant. Well, thank God for the internet, because all that shit was now out there. Anybody could look it up that wanted to, and the church couldn't do a damn thing about it. They were livid. So, of course, here comes the smear campaign. Oh, the smear campaign. And my first husband and I were kind of roped into that too, because we were also involved in, we were admins. I was an admin on the message forum. We were, active on the site. We were communicating with people on there. So we were kind of looped into it too. We were called devil worshipers. Apparently we had joined some satanic group and were into sacrifices. Like animal sacrifice and shit. That's really why they had to move away, because the police were after them. Like, just crazy stuff, trying so hard to convince current members. So stay away from that website. Don't go to that website, because these are satanic people. And if you go there, then Satan is going to get his hooks in you too and pull you off to hell, and you will never make it to heaven. I don't know how successful they were, but there was absolutely a smear campaign, and they would talk about us from the pulpit in church and go on and on and on about how evil and wicked we were. Pure Satanism going on at our house. Like, I don't know, we were sacrificing animals in our living rooms or something. I don't know. But apparently we had sold our souls to the devil or something, and we were to be avoided at all cost. It was funny because every now and then we would hear, these were on the Wednesday night sermons that were not videotaped or put out there. The Sunday sermons, they wouldn't talk about us, but Wednesdays they would. And those were not recorded, I don't think, or they weren't shared outside of the church, because they desperately needed the current members. And a lot of people ended up leaving, and they wanted to keep the ones who hadn't left. They wanted to keep them in line and keep them ignorant of everything that we were saying. Because people had a lot of questions about some shit that went on in that church, and we had the answers. Like, yes, we have some information here. You can read any of it you want. In fact, we'll give you page numbers. Look, here's this. It's a big thing. Here's a big document. If you want to know about this, go to these pages. If you want to hear from this person, go to these pages. My sister-in-law did all of that in her spare time. I mean, she had a full-time job. She was doing this in her spare time because it was so important. It was such a big project, but it was so important. And I love her to death for doing that. But she just wanted to get the truth out there. And once I found out the truth, I felt the same way. Like, I will do anything I can to help get this out to anybody who wants to know. They need to know. If you want to stay in the church, that's fine. But you need to know what you're involved in. You deserve to have all the information, not just what they want you to know. So, yeah, it was funny. Sometimes these people would come onto the message board and try to blast us, oh, you're working for the devil and it's Satan, and like, oh, whatever. Just, you're here to read the transcripts and see what people have to say. Just drop it. Just stop. But, it kind of hurt to have people that once seemed to be your friend, finding out they won't talk to you because they think you're a devil worshiper. I mean, it's to be othered is just kind of weird. Like, I thought we were friends. Well, you worship the devil now. I can't be friends with you. But I don't worship the devil. Yes, you do. You don't even know. Pretty sure I'd know if I was worshiping the devil. So if you are involved with a narcissist in any capacity, unfortunately, one of the side effects, one of the things that you may not expect, once you get away from them, it may not be over. You may have to deal with, it's kind of like, in the horror movie, you think it's over and there's always that one last little jump scare at the very end. The smear campaign is like that. It's like the one last little jump, the last startling thing at the end of the movie. The hand comes up from the grave and grabs you. That's the smear campaign. My advice to you, when it comes to any shit they want to talk about you, as much as it may hurt, because they know what to say to hurt you. They have studied you for a long time. They know what you're sensitive about, and everybody has something they're sensitive about. They know, and they know whatever they say will get back to you eventually. And they're going to try their best to pull you in and get you involved. That's what they want. Don't give it to them. My advice is don't give it to them. Because, again, as I said, they have different rules for you than they have for themselves. They are allowed to do this to you because in their mind, they're entitled. They have a profound sense of entitlement. And they don't really see you as a person anyway. They kind of look at you as an object. You're like a tool. You do something for them. They don't really look at you as a person. You are just an object. Honestly, you're not, but I'm just saying that's how they see you. They are allowed to do this to you, and you deserve it in their mind. You deserve every bit of this. Because look what you did to me. You hurt me. I'm going to punish you forever. I'm going to punish you at every opportunity. I'll punish you for years. And it can go on for years. I have dealt with a smear campaign that has gone on for years. Yeah, and that's another one I'm not going to get into, but I left a narcissist a number of years ago. This person still to this day, at every opportunity, smears my name, bashes my name, talks about what an evil, evil person I am. I know. Every now and then I'll hear about it. And I just kind of laugh. Like, whatever. I don't feel the need to defend myself anymore. Because the way I look at it, people who know me know better. They know this person. They know me. I'm going to leave it up to them. I believe they have good enough judgment to figure out where the truth lies in this situation. And if they really think I'm a wicked person, they can think that. It's okay. I don't need to defend myself. Because in their mind, you don't really have the right to defend yourself. So if you do defend yourself, it's kind of going to feed that snowball that's rolling down the hill that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. They're going to take anything you say and tack it on to whatever smear campaign they've been working on. It will just add fuel to the fire. You're throwing gas on the fire. If you want the smear campaign to stop, you have to starve it out. And it can be hard because you're really going to want to get in there and defend yourself like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Now, I did when I found out that I was being called a homeless, drug-addicted stripper prostitute. I felt the need to go tell some people because I didn't want them to worry about me and think that that was true. I didn't want them worrying about me. I was 17 years old. I didn't want them thinking that was going to be, that was my life. But in other circumstances, if somebody wanted to call me, say I'm ugly and my mom dresses me funny or, whatever, I'm a bad person, I'm mentally ill. Okay. Does it really affect you, the things that these people say? If it doesn't affect you personally or professionally, now if it's affecting you professionally, now that's something else. If it is causing real harm to your life, like slander or libel can do, you might want to take some steps. But again, that's got to be up to you. And every situation is going to be different. But if it's just somebody running around, running their mouth to people, don't feed the troll. It's just like being in a comment section or having a YouTube channel. Don't feed the trolls. Just don't feed them. Because that's what they want anyway. They're doing it to get a rise out of you. They are doing it to hurt you and to get a reaction from you. Because really, Any reaction from you is narcissistic supply to them. Whether it's positive or negative, they don't care. If they can get some sort of reaction out of you, that feeds their ego. That feeds them like oxygen would. Starve them out. Give them nothing. Don't even say their name. Forget their name. Forget they exist. And if they were to confront you personally, I'd just say, who are you? What? Oh, all right, cool. And just walk away. I wouldn't even say that. I would just, I'd just walk away. Say nothing. Give them nothing. Don't even make a sound. Don't even go, Just walk away. Say nothing and walk away. Give them nothing to work with. See, the good thing is, and this is funny because I've watched this happen too. I have somebody still talking about me on the internet, but I'm not going to say who, but I did hear they're still talking about me. Here's the funny thing. If you don't feed it, they will have to continue to generate stuff for the smear campaign. They'll have to come up with their own stuff. And because their brain doesn't work right, the stuff they come up with will just become more and more ridiculous. It will just be more and more nonsensical to the point where it's really funny. And you can actually look at it and just see it as funny because it is funny. So the people listening to them after a while are just going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? Not only what the hell are you talking about, but why the hell are you still talking about this person who's not even a part of your life anymore? Don't you have anything better to do than talk about this person? Is nothing else going on in your life? You have stalled out. You're just talking about this person all the time. That's kind of pathetic. That's how I see it anyway. There is a saying, and I love the saying because it's very true. Living well is the best revenge. And it absolutely is. Genuinely living well. Go on with your life. I know they're talking shit about you. I know they are. And if you have a lot of mutual friends or coworkers or family members, whatever your situation is, you may hear this stuff on a regular basis. Oh, now they're saying this. Oh, they said that. They said you did this. They said you said that. It's like you're back in damn middle school. I can't stand this shit. I don't like drama. I know I do like gossip videos and stuff. I hate that shit in real life. You might just have to say to these people, be very blunt, not mean, but just sort of firm. I don't want to hear any more about what this person is saying about me. I would appreciate it if you would just drop it. I don't want to hear any more. Thank you. If you have questions, consider my character. Does it sound accurate to you? You're going to have to use your own judgment to decide whether or not you think this stuff is true. But going forward, I would appreciate it if you would just keep that to yourself and repeat as needed. I don't want to hear it anymore. Don't go to this person's social media because they may be talking about you there. Just avoid situations if you can where they might be doing this stuff. Just avoid it. And it will be hard at first. It will be hard. You may still be trauma bonded to this person. And you feel that hole in your life, that void that is left once they're gone. It won't last forever. I promise you. The longer you avoid them, the easier it will be to continue to avoid them. Don't respond. Do not respond, even if it's to defend yourself. Because again, the narcissist is going to find out because they probably have flying monkeys, the little people in their life that sort of prop them up. And most narcissists have at least one flying monkey in their life that kind of props them up. Like they're always bolstering their ego and ferrying messages back and forth for them. The flying monkey will make sure the narcissist finds out what you said. And they will just use it against you in some stupid way. And it will only make things worse, and it will make the smear campaign go on longer. So that's why I would recommend saying nothing. Not only do you have to say nothing, you have to research nothing. Don't research this person. Don't go online and look at their stuff. I think that makes it harder to say nothing if you're doing that. Just forget they exist. And I know that's easier said than done, but at least act as if you have forgotten they exist. Don't look them up online. Don't drive by their house. Don't go where they normally go looking for them. Don't do any of that. You need to change your behaviors. And over time, the smear campaign will either fade away or it will become so ridiculous no one will listen to them anymore. And if there are people listening to them, I wouldn't worry about their opinions anyway. These are people who are looking for some excitement, some conflict and drama, and they're hoping to find it. That's all. They're looking for something to pop off. Don't give it to them. Live well. Go on with your life. Set some goals for yourself. Work on bettering yourself somehow. Focus on making your life better. Focus on moving forward and live well. Don't just do it for them, though. Do it for yourself. You're not doing it for them, but a really good unintended consequence is the fact that that narcissist is watching you. They are going to keep tabs on you. That you may never know it. They will definitely keep tabs on you and see how you're doing. They're going to check on you every now and then, and you don't have to say a thing. Living well is the best revenge. Trust me, the narcissist is not a happy person. They're not. Narcissists are miserable. They have no sense of self. Can you imagine how much that would suck? To just have no sense of self at all? All they have is this false self, this mask that they have crafted over the years. That's all they have. And it's not real. And it's very, very fragile. And they know that. And that's why I think it makes them so angry to see other people truly happy. Because they're never going to get there, and they know that. Deep down, they know that. They try to hide it. They try to act like everything is great. They're miserable people. You don't have to do anything to punish them. Their life is punishment enough. Your absence from their life takes a light away from them that they can never replicate. They don't have it in themselves to do what you do, and they know it. And it pisses them off that they didn't destroy you. They want to see you destroyed. They want to see you miserable and just broken after being with them, especially if you're the one who escaped from them. They didn't discard you. They didn't even get to do that. They want to see you destroyed. So that's why I'm telling you, go on out there and do your damnedest to fix your life, improve your life, and to live well. And it's not going to happen in a day. It may not happen in a year or 5 years. Work on yourself, though. You will get there. Little steps. But as long as you're making progress, living well is absolutely the best revenge against these people. Because they cannot take that away from you. You got away from them, and that's great. They are going to try. They will probably try to smear you for that. And especially if they do see you're doing well, the smear campaign may escalate because they're trying to take you back down a notch or two. They don't want you thinking too much of yourself. So they're going to smear you and try to, cause you to stumble. Maybe if you stumble, you'll fall and you won't get back up. Don't let them. Don't give them that. It's pathetic. Don't give them that. Just starve them out. Starve them out. Don't respond to the smear campaign. You do not owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anybody anything here. You didn't initiate that. You don't owe anybody anything related to that smear campaign. If people keep coming to you and telling you about it, tell them to stop. You can be polite but firm. I don't want to hear it anymore. Thank you. You can stop giving me these updates. I am not interested. And just leave it at that. Most people will stop if you're firm about it. They'll stop. And maybe they'll realize too, yeah, this is kind of childish and stupid. Maybe I should stop being involved in it myself. But smear campaigns suck. I mean, there's no better way to say it. They do. They're terrible. It hurts that someone who once claimed to love you so much could treat you this way. And it is kind of a betrayal. Like, I thought this person cared. They said that I was their whole world. I was this, I was that. Look how they're treating me. Look what they're doing. It does hurt. It is hurtful. It's definitely hurtful. But they're going to do it because that's what they do. Because you have hurt them. You've hurt their little ego. You have bruised them. Inside, they are a wounded little child in an adult's body. They don't know how to deal with this kind of stuff. They don't know how to deal with this pain. So they lash out at you. And it's almost like there's a class that these people take to learn how to do these things, because they all kind of do the same stuff. All these narcissists, they do the same stuff. But the good thing about that is you can learn about it. There are tons of videos online where you can learn about it. And you can learn ways to cope and deal with these people. Because again, it is not like dealing with regular people. The rules that they have for themselves are not the rules they have for you. So don't treat them like that's not true, because you won't get anywhere. I don't know if any of this was helpful, but again, my best advice to you is don't engage with a narcissist, especially after you get away from them. Engage with them as little as possible. If you have children with them, that can be very tricky. My God, that can be tricky, because you can't ever really get away from them. But you can set up some very firm boundaries with them. I would recommend, if it's really bad, like a really bad situation, communication by email only, texts only in extreme emergencies, like I lost a body part and I'm going to the hospital. No verbal communication. I know that sounds radical, but for a lot of them, that's when they start shit. It's when you're talking to them, and then they rewrite history later and have you doing and saying things that never happened. I think we've all been there. No face-to-face communication, no phone communication, email only. Keeps everybody honest, causes people to, remember things accurately when recalled later. Nobody can rewrite anything. It's right there in the email. It's very helpful. Cuts down on a lot of drama, I find. And if they decide to smear you, you have to accept the fact that they have the right to do that. Well, unless it's going into the fields of libel and slander, and that gets into legal shit, and I'm not a lawyer, we're not going to discuss the legalities of that. Of course, if it's causing you severe, if it's affecting your life or your work, I mean, obviously, I'd talk to a lawyer, but I'm talking about just the everyday smear campaigns that they do. They're going to do what they're going to do. Their brains work the way they work, and you have to learn to speak narcissist in order to understand how to cope with these smear campaigns. Don't feed them, because it's like oxygen to them when you feed them. Don't feed them. Starve them out. Go live your life. I know that sounds simple. I could have just said that from the start, but I didn't. Starve them out. Go live your life. They're going to do what they're going to do. Don't take it personally. It's not you. It's them and their screwed up brain. It's just, you couldn't avoid it. You could have been the perfect partner, family member, coworker, whatever. Once you get tangled up with a narcissist, you will never be enough to avoid the wrath and the bullshit that will come from them. That's just what they do. They just rain down bullshit. I don't know. They thrive on destruction and conflict and pain and damage and trauma. They just do. This is just what they do. They leave a wake of this crap behind them, and they don't care. They don't care. They have no empathy. They have no ability to give a shit about anybody. They just don't. They have no empathy at all. And they don't care that it hurts you. They think it's funny. They think it's neat. They find it energizing to think of hurting you. Gives them that supply. Don't give it to them. Starve them out. And maybe they'll find somebody else to latch on to. I mean, I would hate for this to happen to somebody else, but in my experience, once they find somebody else to latch on to, a lot of the smear stuff kind of goes away, or at least dies down, because they have new supply to focus on, and they're getting the supply that they need. So they may kind of slack off on the smear campaign. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They may come back to it later. It may crop up again in a year or two, but just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just look at it like, oh, they're still at it. Anyway, what's for dinner? Yeah, it's not a factor in my life. Oh, you know what they're saying about you now? Don't care. Anyway, good to see you. And I'll just literally say, I don't care. I know I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what he said. I don't care. Good for him. Anyway, see ya. And I don't engage. I will not engage in anyone trying to update me on the latest smear. No, don't care. Good for him. Bye-bye. And that's it. I'm not going to engage. And the more you do it, the easier it is. So for anyone out there going through a smear campaign, or if you have been through one, my sympathies lie with you. My heart goes out to you because it sucks. I know it sucks. It hurts in a way that is kind of hard to describe to someone who's never been through it. It's multiple levels of pain. It's like a betrayal. It's disgusting. It's funny. It's enraging. It's something that just simmers inside of you. You just feel all kinds of ways about it. I know. And I feel for you. But I hope some of this was helpful. I hope maybe you got something out of this that might help you see things differently or help you deal with things. I really hope so. But thank you so much for watching and for being here. I promise my other videos are not going to be all this Debbie Downer stuff that a lot of people don't like for me to talk about because it makes them uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to get uncomfortable in life, and that's just the way it is. It's like that colonoscopy. Sometimes you just got to go through it, you know. It is what it is. But thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.